Hey, this is my first, like I said, I'm making vinyl collector videos here, and I picked the topic of being live on vinyl, live in concert. I got a lot of records to go through here, so I don't know, it might have to be 2 or 3 parts of doing these, but let's get into it right now. Let's be real quick. We're starting with the Allman Brothers. This is a pretty easy album to find. I think I bought this as a cutout when it came out. It was like $3 or something. But I like Southern rock. The Allman Brothers are great. Great guitarist Duane Allman. Then in the 60s, we had the Association live. I haven't even played this record yet, but it's in great condition. Um, I like that kind of sound, the LA sound. They were very polished on stage. Then we go into the folk years. I got Joan Baez in concert. This is on Vanguard. She was on Vanguard. You can see that there. Now I got the Beatles, and this album I know was marketed under various, I think through various companies, and even covers. The historic live recordings. This was from some tapes made by a fellow Liverpool group called King Size Taylor and the Dominoes, and he made some primitive recordings with a home tape machine. And the liner notes here say that record company bought it and they spent like $100,000 trying to clean up these tapes for making this record or records. And the results are kind of iffy, but it is a historical document, and any hardcore Beatles fan would probably want this in their collection. I've also seen this album as, I think it was called Live at the Star Club. It was all black cover. So, like I said, Beatles. This is when they were doing all their covers of all the rock at the time, if you can see that. You know. So there you go, the Beatles. Then we get into singer-songwriters. Jackson Browne. I wasn't really much of a Jackson Browne fan until just recent years, but he's great. You know, he has great taste, and he has uh, great musician. He hires great musicians. Now we go into some classic country. One of the great live albums by one of the greatest performers probably in country history. It's a must-have. Johnny Cash at Folsom Prison. And I have actually a couple copies of this. One of the greatest live albums really of all time. Then Johnny made another lesser acclaimed album, Johnny Cash at San Quentin. You can see that there. I think this is about the same time that he had his TV show. He had a TV variety music show on, I think it was maybe ABC, the ABC network. Another singer-songwriter, famous one, Harry Chapin. Greatest Stories Live. And we're getting into another great performer, Ray Charles. Ray Charles live in concert. Go there, see some of the stuff. And then we got the Chicago Transit Authority, or Chicago live in concert. I think this was a German import or something. And then I have another Chicago. It's like a box set. Chicago at Carnegie Hall. You just see that there. And it's got kind of a little surprise in here that I'll show you at the end of this video. It's got some extra stuff in there besides the discs. Then we go into the folk again. And this is the early years of Elektra Records. This is Judy Collins in concert. That one there. This is one that I bought, I think, not too long after it came out. I've had this record for over 30 years. I'm a big Crosby, Stills, Nash, Young fan. Four-Way Street. It's pretty easy to come by. Then we're going into the pre-rock. We're going back into the swing band era. I found this is pretty cool. Benny Goodman. These were radio concerts that were recorded live. I think this probably came out in the early 60s, maybe mid 60s. Then we got another kind of folk, kind of pop performer, Judy Henske, her first concert album. See that there? Then we're going into the surf era. Got Jan and Dean live in person at the Tammy show. That's pretty cool. It's on Liberty, so it's been out of print for forever. Then one of my favorite bands that I mentioned before, I got Jefferson Airplane at Winterland, one of those famous ballrooms in San Francisco. They had all the psychedelic light shows and all that stuff. I'm watching the time here. Okay, then we go into the folk pop era again with the Kingston Trio, live from the Hungry Eye. That was a famous venue for in San Francisco, I believe, for performers like this, folk performers. You can see that there. And another Kingston Trio stereo concert. See, back then stereo was kind of like a new thing. Most people still had, you know, basic monophonographs. So there you go. And another kind of pop performer of the 50s and 60s, Frankie Laine. Command Performance. You can see there's Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth there, and the Royals, I guess. You can see the back there, maybe. Some of the stuff, you can see some of what they had. A couple more by another folk act. The Limelighters, recorded live. And another one by them tonight in person, the Limelighters. Kind of topical music at the time, wholesome, I guess you'd call this. This one I found just yesterday at a thrift store. I wasn't really a fan of this group. I probably heard them off and on in the 70s. Little Feat, Waiting for Columbus. See the back. Then we get into the British blues scene. John Mayall, Moving On. It's back there. And here's one of my favorite performers too, and Steve Miller Band, Rock Love. And I think I'll do maybe one or two more here, and then I'll show you something at the end from that Chicago album. Another famous a band, or I could say a folk band that had a famous backing musician. It's the Chad Mitchell Trio, recorded live at the bitter end. And anybody who knows anything about music knows who this guy is. That's Jim McGuinn, or he's calling himself by his real name, Jim. And here's another one by them. This time they let him on the front. There he is there. Of course, we all know, in fact, you can see, they even gave him his little dose of recognition there. Of course, we all know he became famous in the Byrds, Roger McGuinn. Okay, now I got to show you that that extra thing. that Chicago album. Gives you one poster, pretty big size. And you think that wasn't enough as a poster, look at this. The thing is so friggin' huge. I can't even show the whole thing in the screen here. It's literally about 5 by 4, or more like 6 by 4 feet square here. So probably the biggest poster thing I think has ever been put in an album package. So I hope you enjoyed this first half of my live concert album collecting video, and hope to see you again for part 2. See you later.